Hello, hello. It's been a minute. I know. I am so sorry. The time got away from me. And that's what this episode's going to be about. It's about time. It's about how we don't have a whole lot of it, how most of us try to lose it or manipulate it. But whatever it is, it's been a minute. We got some things to catch up on. It's listen, it's list. I did not mean to take this much time off from this podcast. Let me tell you. And I've been going back and forth with what do I come back with? Do I do interviews? What do I cover? What's the first episode? I don't know what to talk about. And I finally was inspired. And I was like, this is the weekend. I'm getting it done. We are in the middle of a Sunday reset, mind you, right now. When I say I'm in the middle of it, I mean, if you're watching me, you can tell. But behind me on my bed, I've got the clothes I have to still put away. The laundry's going. I've got some idea of what's for dinner. And I am this is on my to-do list. We are going to record. We're going to edit. We're going to post. We're going to stop overthinking it because time is only just going to keep going by. And then it's going to get worse. And next thing you know, it's going to be 14 months later and I'm never going to come back to it. And I spent all the money on this equipment for what? A whole lot of nothing. But I got inspired because I had a friend, and I'm going to get more into this this story, but I had a friend say to me, do you realize it's only been 365 days since we met? I was like, 365 days since we met? That can't be for real. And it is. And I was like, how come time sometimes can feel like it's flying at such a rate, but also 365 days feels like nothing. And that was what inspired. I was like, that's what I'm going to talk about because I do think it's quite interesting. Time got away from me around the holidays, which I feel like a majority of us that happens. My hiatus was supposed to be one more holiday episode, take off a couple weeks and be back in February. And what do you know? It's going to be almost April now, you guys, and I just kind of ghosted. And you know why? Things happen, life happened. And most of us can relate to that. In that time frame, I had to purchase a new car. My computer shit the bed, so I had to get another computer. I then also had somebody break their ankle here in this household. I then, of course, had the holidays and regular life, and I was just overwhelmed. So the first thing that was going to go was this. And let's be so for real, this is not easy, and not in feel bad for me kind of way. I know myself, and I told everybody this, and I'm so happy I was right, even though I'm not happy about it. I can say I told you so because I know myself. They're like, you can just do a podcast. You can leave morning radio and just do a podcast. No, I can't. Number one, I'm back on morning radio. That's a whole nother thing. But number two, I know that if I'm not getting paid to do something, your girl's not going to do it. She is lazy. And I feel like most of us can agree and can relate to that. That if you're not getting paid for something, why are you giving up your time for it? I have to give up the time of creating what I'm going to talk about, sitting down, recording it, then editing it, then getting it posted, and then posting this stuff on socials. And let's be so for real, for what? For who? Who? And not that I hate the 4 people who listen to me. I was just like, if something's got to give right now and I need a minute for myself, it's got to be this. And I didn't think that it would be 4 months later. 4 months later. And I was like, I got to get back to it. So I decided just to throw myself into it with this idea of if you don't do it now, you're never going to get back to it. And here we are. So what sparked it? What sparked this idea of time, this nervousness of just get it done. Just try to do it. Just put yourself out there. Christine. Now, leadership was this past week. It was the second annual. And last year was obviously the first one. I went to the first one and I remember being very, very, very nervous about it. And it was funny. I was also reminiscing about this with my coworker, Chris, and he was like, you sat there and you whined about going and how nervous you were. He's like, and all you do is whine about sitting with all the boys. And now you're going to go to an event, just the girls, and you're still crying about it. And I was like, yeah, I am, because I'm nervous. I am scared as hell to go into a room full of women who I am inspired by and intimidated by, am jealous of. It's natural, right? You're in a room full of people who are like, are they doing better than me? Or should I have been doing that? Should I have worn that? Overthinking academy is where I definitely reside most of my life. But I said to him, I was like, I am nervous to go into a room full of women, especially because if I think about where I was a year ago, it was not good. I was so unhappy last March, and I had zero idea of who I was, what I was going to be, what I wanted to do, how I was going to do it. Oh, that was not a good time. I forgot that my mindset was pretty dark during that time. So I remember thinking, this is one of those opportunities where I'm going to go and I should meet people and introduce myself. And even though it seems like I would be really comfortable and confident with that, I am not. I am always in my own head, and I want people to know that, especially those who do struggle with it. Social anxiety, the over, look, I'm even stuttering now thinking about it, but the social anxiety and the absolute scaredy cat, like, that I was of other people. Like, I want people to feel comfortable when they're talking to me, but I also want them to think that I'm smart. I also want them to think that I'm great, but I can't be everybody's cup of tea. It's like this terrible, terrible thing that you do to yourself. And I remember feeling really inspired last year at the event. I remember getting through all of the breakout sessions, and I had kind of, stuck to the people that I knew. And I was like, I'm feeling like I was feeling a little braver. And right before I left, I saw Trisha, I saw who I thought was Trisha. Now, Trisha and Christine, if you do not know them, they're the creators and masterminds of the Success Circle, which is a really great group of women that they have created, and this community and this, I don't want to say lifeline because that sounds like really dramatic, but I mean, for some of us it is. They created this space where it was like they both had their own companies and their own businesses, and there wasn't that many, they didn't work with anybody else. So they wanted to have that idea of like community. And then slowly they really did something more than that. It's become a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. I highly recommend going and seeing the Success Circle, but on like socials and whatnot. But I had been watching them on the internet from afar, having these coffee connections. And it was like a group of women. At the time, it was like 5 or 6 of them that would get together on the 4th Friday of the month and, I guess, network. And I had never done anything like that before. And I was very intrigued by it, but it happened during my morning show, so I couldn't go. And I remember thinking like, that'd be nice. And I don't know who added who, but somebody added who, and Trisha and I were messaging on LinkedIn, a site I never used. And I'm still trying to get better about using it because now that I'm a professional lady. And I went up to Christine. I said, hi, I just want to introduce myself in person because we've been talking online. And she gave me the confused look, like the and I thought, oh my gosh, she doesn't remember. Oh my gosh. And the instant, like, I shouldn't have said anything. I should have just walked out. And then she goes, oh no, you're probably, you're probably talking to Trisha. And I got the two of them mixed up. And she's like, but I am the other half of Success Circle. It was really nice to meet you. And we talked a little bit, and she's like, I'd really love to talk more. And I said, same. And I left, and I remember feeling so proud of myself for like saying hi and doing the networky thing. And then what was even crazier was she messaged me and we set up a coffee date. I remember I was like, you guys, I'm going on my first networking date. Like, I was bragging about it as if like it was this intense, crazy thing. And we went and we got coffee and we chatted, and I've never had an experience like that. And at that point in the year, I had no idea I was going to leave radio. I had no idea that I was going to totally just throw everything at the wall and hope that something stuck at that point. I had ideas that I maybe wanted to start my own business. Maybe I had ideas of maybe like doing a little bit more like side work for people. And I had all these ideas, and I was like, that's kind of where she's like, what can I help you with? She had a notebook. She was ready to basically be like my like magical genie. If I gave her 3 wishes, she was going to make them come true. And I remember thinking, this is so cool. Like, this is what her group of people do. Like, she wants to help me just as much as I now want to help her. And I remember saying like, well, I'm not really sure what I need right now, but once I do know of something, she's like, I can connect you with somebody. I can help make it so that if you have questions, like, I can try to find somebody who can answer them. And it was very, very sweet. And I was like, well, let me do what I know I can do. Get you on the radio. Okay. And since then, since a year ago, she has come back and they've done their own segment on Talk. And they have rebranded, and their groups of 6 or 10 women have now turned into, I think there was 40 of us in the last one that I went to. It was huge, or 50, I can't remember. But it's been so amazing to see the two of them create something that is so much bigger than what I think anybody could have thought. And I think about myself even in that own thing. Like, I feel like now I've been with them and running with them and cheering them on for way longer than a year. But she looked at me this past week at the convention. She's like, Liz, do you realize that it was a year ago that you introduced yourself to me? She's like, it feels like it's been way longer. And I said, you're right. It has been. I go, that can't be true, but it is. I go, in a year, 365 days, we have managed to make it feel like it's been forever, but also it feels like no time at all. It's a very weird, confusing thing. And I was like, that's what I'm going to talk about. 365 days can look so different to everybody, to everyone. And if I think about like the people in my life who are either, some of my friends who in 365 days, they can add a whole nother member to their family. Okay. In that time frame, I've got people who have left jobs, started new careers, and then started another one. I mean, I had 4 W-2s this year, you guys, 365 days. And even though it didn't feel like it was that long, when I was putting and doing my taxes, I was like, oh boy, I go, okay, I'm happy to be kind of slowing down in that aspect of things. But when Christine said that to me, I was like, isn't that just wild how much can change in a year? And that is what I wanted to talk about. Because some of us try our best to use time, or maybe we're losing it, or we're trying to manipulate it. I mean, I'm always trying to get more hours in the day. But at the end of the day, you can't. It's not a thing you can do. Like I said, this podcast, if you only have 24 hours, I like to sleep for at least 8 or 7 of those hours. And then I got 8 hours at work. I got to make time to have a dinner at some point with my family. I need to go for my daily outside walk that I've been doing since January. I want to read my book a little bit. Like, there are so many things that you try to fit into a day, and then forget about like your friends or networking or events or any of the other things that go along with life. And then I think about like some of my friends who then have to take their kids to like practices and games on top of everything else you do. I just can't get over it. So when I left this year, the leadership convention, I was in such a different spot than I was the year previously. LinkedIn doesn't seem so scary. Going into a room full of women alone didn't seem as scary. And I mean, I was still a little bit nervous, but that's because I'm like afraid of social parties. I have to say I didn't go to a second breakout room. I went to the vision board room because I needed a minute to like bring myself down. I was so exhausted towards the end of of that day. Because I was like hyper aware that all of my favorite people and people who inspire me, people who have created amazing businesses, were all in one space, and I didn't have time to talk to all of them. And then by the time I got home, I crashed. It's just a good reminder that past me, that went to that first convention, was a totally different person than the 365 version that got to go this past week. And not to sound dramatic about it, but God, that does feel good. I'm like making that realization right now, you guys. So mind you, this might be a bit dramatic, but it feels really good to know that like the version of me that left that is a totally different one. And I'm in a totally different mind space than I was the year before. Crazy. And I mean, as I sit here and talk about time and everyone's like trying to figure out how they can get more of it, I love how I'm like, yeah, you just have to find what matters to you. And I'm like, by the way, I've got 3 side hustles and also my full-time job and also a family to take care of and also 3 cats. And the question that I've gotten so many times is, why did you go back to morning radio after you nobody has said it like this, but this is how this is what I feel like you're asking in your head. Why did you go back to morning radio after you embarrassingly cried about it on the radio and then also told all of us that it was too hard and you were so sad and you were so this? Why'd you go back? Simple answer. I like it. Simpler answer was because I could. I mean, it's funny because when they asked me, hey, would you be interested in coming back and just doing the morning show and that's it, I said, ugh, I'm not sure. I said, you realize I'm like the happiest I've ever been and now you want me to change up my lifestyle, but you're dangling this thing that I really, really like in front of my face. So I took them up on it. But it kind of was as simple as like I said to them, I cried the entire last hour of that show. And it's been 3 months, which is basically a maternity leave, mind you. I did not birth a baby. And I'm just going to come back. And they're like, you know what? Why not? Who cares? And honestly, who cares? That is like such a good thing too with time. Because if you think about it, with time, everybody can either forget about it or they can sit there and they can beat a dead horse about it. But like at the end of the day, if it's not their life, like what does it matter? And they were like, I think it's okay if you come back. So I said, sure. I said, I'll come in, I'll just do the show and I leave. So I am not there like for the rest of the day. I'm not involved in all the daily going ons. A lot of people called me and they're like, does this mean no, it means none of that. It means I go in and I do the show and then I leave. But you can tune in on Kiss FM from 6 to 10 again and we can chit chat in the morning. It's been an interesting thing to try to weave back into my routine. And I think a majority of us know what it's like to try to get, I stressed this a lot before too, like finding your routine of what makes sense for you. And my husband was like, I mean, you tend to not like to sit still. And I said, well, do you think if I take this on again, that I'm going to get into that bad place again? And he was like, I mean, I don't know. He goes, honestly, maybe. He's like, honestly, maybe not. And I was like, yeah, maybe it won't happen. Or maybe it would. And you know what? I can cry again on the radio and leave, I guess, if I need to. Because who cares? Time will tell. Time will let me know if I can continue it or not. My body will let me know. I think a lot of the time, the things that I was really afraid of or the things that I didn't do because I was afraid of the outcome, at the end of the day, who cares? Who cares? It's like I was so worried. There was 1 week where I missed this deadline to make this podcast. Who cares? The boss of this corporation, this podcast, is me. And I gave myself an extension. I gave myself a 4-month extension, but that's besides the point. So I think that is ultimately coming back. It felt right to talk about time because do I feel like I have a ton of it? No. Do I feel like I don't like when I have a ton of it? Yeah. I don't like when people say, oh, you're just so busy. I don't want to bother you. I hate that. But at the same time, if I'm not busy, I don't know. I don't think I like it. Who knows? We'll have to figure it all out when we do. But to think about where I was 365 days ago and to where I am right now, it's definitely not figured out. I wouldn't say it's a lot better. I would say mentally I'm a lot better. I think I've been able to learn so much, and I think that it's been a really good 365 days. Now I'm excited to see where myself or Christine is going, where we're going to be at come 365 days later, And also a good side note, or just like a little tidbit of also at this leadership convention. If you don't follow me on Instagram, listen, it's Liz, you should. One of the Instagram reels I recently made was about Joy's sourdough bread. And if you do not know what I'm talking about, Joy is a fantastic small business owner who has decided to bake out of her house and into this little shed. And she makes sourdough items, whether it's bread, loaves of sandwich bread. She does cookies and scones and everything and anything. And I recently have been trying to throw myself into Madison County, trying to learn more about it because that's where I'm working, and I wanted to showcase her, and I wanted to try it. And I made an Instagram reel about it, and she was so sweet. She was like, that was too much. Like, I need to give you, and you don't got to give me anything. Okay. Number one, keep doing what you're doing. But I'd never met her, never gotten the chance to actually like meet her in person. It was all online, and she was there, and I did not expect her to be there. My jaw hit the floor. I ran over. I was like, Joy, oh my gosh. And like, we kind of fangirled over each other. And then we took a selfie. And then at the end of the event, I said, how'd it go? How do you feel? She goes, I was trying to explain this to them, like who I was. And they said, oh, wait, I know you. I saw Liz's video about you. She goes, that happened to me twice. And I was like, nah, that's crazy. Really? I was like, well, I'm happy to have been a person that like helped, because what can we do other than cheer each other on? Right? That's what if I could be paid to do anything, I've made this my LinkedIn like title is Chief Community Cheerleader. That's what I want to be. I want to cheerlead for all of the people who I love their products. I love their business. I love who they are. And I want to help them. And that was one of the other things. Like I think about even Joy, where she was a year ago versus where she is now. She said the shed was fairly new. I don't remember when she wasn't the shed and she had like just shelves near her home. Like, again, you grow and you never know what is going to be the yes that really makes a difference or the no that really makes a difference. So if I said no to all the things that I did this year, I don't know where I would have been, what I would be doing, how I would be feeling. But I do know that it has led to me eating some really delicious sourdough and learning a ton at a new job that I love and just kind of going through life the best I can. And if you want to come with me, I love that. And I want you to continue to grow and to look at what you do every day. And don't put a ton of pressure on it, because let's be so for real. We don't need more pressure. We just need to be realizing that like the things that usually scare us are worth it. Go out and talk to other people. Scary, but worth it. That's the end of this episode. I hope you had a blast. I'm happy to be back. And will the next episode be in 2 weeks or will it be another ghosting? Only time will tell.